relationship with your inner child? Well, I have learned over the years that having a relationship with your inner child is of the utmost importance, especially if you want to embrace all of you. Starting with your inner child is a great segue into that. So that's what I'm going to talk about today, is the inner child within each and every one of us. So we've all heard about our inner child. So we've all heard about inner child work, right? And if you haven't, follow along and continue to watch this video because we're going to dive into that. But the inner child, we all have an inner child aspect to us, and we all have many aspects to us. We have the work aspect to us. We have the family aspect. We have the aspect that we only really show when we're by ourselves. We also have the inner child aspect of us. And when you can embrace all of the different aspects of yourself, that's when you become whole. That's when you become a whole soul person. A whole soul, woman or man. So continue to watch this video as we dive in a little bit deeper into the inner child. First, I want to talk about embracing the playfulness and the creativity of the inner child. So to embrace the playfulness and creativity, you tend to have to tap into what makes you happy, what makes you joyful, what makes you kind of playful, you know? That tends to stem from like our hobbies, art, and different things like that. So for example, maybe going to an arcade game with some friends as an adult and just having a good time and just playing the games and getting your tickets and going up and getting your prize. Maybe going go-karting, maybe laying out at the beach with some friends, floating the river, going and playing basketball, shooting some hoops with the guys or the girls, going out shopping for the ladies, even like getting some blank canvas and some paint and just painting whatever comes to mind, just having fun. And then for some people, they really get to tap into their inner child by playing with their kids. Sometimes when you play with your kids, you really get to explore the world through their eyes. And sometimes it can help you kind of step back into your own inner child and just have fun and explore and just see how they navigate the world, reminding you of how you used to navigate the world as a child, or how being a child and the exploration and the imagination that comes along with that. Sometimes that is ignited and activated when you play with your children. Just tapping into the things that make you happy and bring you joy and that are just lighthearted and kind of ignite your imagination. That is one of the beautiful aspects of tapping into your inner child. Next, I want to talk about the healing past wounds and unmet needs. So when we talk about this is kind of where it gets a little maybe challenging or triggering for some people because, you know, none of us come to this planet as adults. We all enter the world as infants and we go through childhood and then we grow up to be adults. Well, everything that happens through childhood, it affects us. It influences us in one way or another. Some of us compartmentalize it and never visit it again. Some of us absolutely still live as our inner child, regardless of which way and how you process or accept or deal with your inner child. Somehow, some way, it does set up the GPS system in some way of how we navigate our adult life. So when we are going in to heal past wounds and unmet needs, that is a sense of like, I would say sitting down. I remember the first time that I had a conversation with my little girl, my inner child, and I just empathetically and actively listened to her. And I asked her questions and I listened with compassion and I listened with empathy. And it just helped me remember who my little girl is. It helped me remember. It also started this cultivation of a relationship between the two of us. And so I would advise, when you're wanting to go into your inner child, when you're wanting to go into your inner child and do the work around healing wounds and healing unmet needs, I would advise that you just sit down in a quiet space and just open up the floor, hold the space for your little child to just speak. If you allow that to happen, I promise you, he or she is going to come forward and he or she is going to tell you all of the things that they felt like they lacked when they were a child. And just empathetically listening. And at the end of it, give your inner child some care and some love and some support. Most of all, reassure your inner child that everything is okay now and that you have everything that you need in this moment to keep you all safe and to be secure in this present moment. Give your inner child the reassurance that you've got you all now. Give your inner child that opportunity to be witnessed. Give your inner child the space to speak. But most of all, just let them know that they are cared for and they are loved and they are seen. They are witnessed. That will start the healing process of the wounds. That will start the healing process of the unmet needs. And then from there, you can start building the self-awareness and the authenticity. And with that, that's where you start really cultivating that relationship between you and your inner child. That's when you get to dive in deeper and you get to acknowledge and learn and remember what their emotions were like, what their desires were, what your fears were as your younger self. You really, at this point, get to gain a deeper understanding of your authentic self. When cultivating this relationship, you're always giving space to your inner child. There is this constant exchange of care and empathy, but then there's also a place and a time for your inner child to take the driver's seat. And when you can cultivate a relationship with your inner child, that's when you become more aware of when your inner child, your little girl, your little boy, is trying to hop in the driver's seat of your life and run the show. When you become more aware of that, that's when you really become more of a whole-souled woman or man. When you acknowledge that, hey, there's a time and there's a place for my inner child to take over the show. There's a time and a place for me to sit down and really soothe and love and care on my inner child. There's a time and a place for my inner child to be my inner child. Cultivate that relationship with your inner child. Get to know him or her. Get to understand him or her and how they show up in your life today. For example, if you're in a relationship and say you, as a child, you maybe had an absent parent, and now you're in a relationship and you are struggling with moments of feeling abandoned, reminding your inner child that you cannot be abandoned. There's no way you can be abandoned or rejected. And soothing that inner child, because as you've moved into adulthood, you have now gathered resources, you have gathered people, and most of all, the older you get and the more you tap back into who you are, which is a huge reason as to why you would even cultivate a relationship with your inner child, is because of the remembrance of who you are. I've said it before, but we came here agreeing to forget that we are spirit expressing itself. But we come here to remember. We come here to get the lessons of earth This is an earth school. This is the school of earth. And so we come here to receive lessons and to gain knowledge and to remember who we are. You are an expression of spirit. You are an expression of God, of the universe, of the Almighty, however you want to look at it. You are an expression of it. You are spirit experiencing itself. You cannot be abandoned. You have God consciousness running through you. So when you come to that place of understanding who you are, you may have the feeling of being abandoned, but you cannot be abandoned. And that's one of the things that you get to express to your inner child who does not know that, who experienced things in life that left them feeling rejected and abandoned and betrayed. So having a relationship with your inner child is really going to put you in a beautiful power position in your life, because not only will you be able to acknowledge when your younger self is coming online, you can also acknowledge when it's okay for your younger self to come online. Sometimes our younger selves try to come online or completely come online and completely sabotage the things that we have going for ourselves in our right now moment, in this present moment. All because something has not been addressed. Something has not been soothed within the younger self. Something has not been heard in the younger self. Most of our younger selves just want to be witnessed. They just want to be loved on. That's it. That's it. And when you can cultivate a strong relationship, which will be an ongoing relationship, but when you can cultivate that relationship with your younger self, when it's time, you let your younger self take the driver's seat and have a blast. Laugh and play and act silly and act goofy and, go, be curious and use your imagination and just run wild. But then when you encounter a situation in your life, you can tell your younger self that is afraid, that may be fearful or hesitant. You can tell them, I got this, I got you, you're safe now. We're older, we have gained resources and knowledge and tools to handle whatever comes our way. So you, younger self, can sit in the back seat, put your seatbelt on, look out the window and daydream and sing songs. Have a blast, relax, because I've got you now. I've got you. So I hope that this helps you and ignites something in you if you have not yet had a conversation or even acknowledged your younger self. I hope that this is a segue into you just thinking about it. Because once you're aware of something, then you can take the next step to act upon it. And it's important. I truly believe that it's important to have a relationship with your younger self, because it's a beautiful aspect of who you are right now. And I know a lot of people may say, oh, well, I don't want to dig up the past. I'm not going to live in the past. But if just for 1 second, you could step out of this human experience when it comes to time, because as humans, we see things and we've been taught, and because of our senses, we really just see time as a linear thing. But time is a construct. If you can step outside of the time construct and realize that everything is happening right now, all you have is the present moment, you then realize that your inner child is here right now with you all the time. This isn't digging up the past. This isn't moving into the future. This is acknowledging the power of standing in your power in this present moment. Okay, so when you can do that and you can just step out of the time construct for just a little bit and recognize that everything is happening right now, and you can cultivate this relationship with your younger self, you are going to be grateful. You are going to be more full. You're going to feel more fulfilled in your life. And the beautiful part about it is you'll become more aware. When you're navigating and when you're dealing with people, if your inner child is online, is this the time or the place for my inner child to be out playing? Is my inner child on some, not so mature stuff right now? Is my inner child gonna sabotage all the work that I've put in? That's what this is about. And then the last thing that I want to leave you with is, as you start to do this work on your inner child and you start to acknowledge your inner child, I believe that it's important that those that are closest to you, those that you have relationships with that are close, it's important that you see if those people can hold space for your inner child as well. People like someone that's having fun all the time. That's very, very attractive. But sometimes our inner child will step online, and our younger self will be afraid. Make sure you have people that are around you that can hold space for your inner child when you need that space to be held. And that's not an excuse to not do the work and not be aware of when our younger selves are online and should possibly be in the back seat, buckled up, enjoying life, letting your adult self handle this. I'm not saying that is an excuse to not do that work. What I'm saying is that there will be times, because we are human, there will be times where your younger self comes online and those around you need to be able to support you. I strongly believe that if someone can support you and soothe your inner child when you need it, that means that they can do the same thing for themselves. So I leave you with that. And I'm also going to leave you with this one quote. So if you find yourself needing some support, please feel free to reach out. If you have someone that you can speak to, I would advise that you find someone that you can speak to. I also have some options available down in the description box if you need someone to support you and guide you through this. But yes, definitely make sure you have some support, especially if you had a challenging childhood. Get some support as you address this aspect of yourself, okay? And with that said, that's what I have. I hope that this ignited, I hope that this activated something within you and placed a fire in you to embrace your inner child aspect, to become more whole. And until next time, I send you peace, I send you light, and I send you love. Bye.